The 1992 Indian stock market scam, also known as the Harshad Mehta scam, was one of the biggest financial frauds in Indian history. Harshad Shantilal Mehta was a stockbroker who took advantage of loopholes in the banking system and manipulated the stock market to his advantage. Mehta started his career in the stock market in the late 1970s as a small-time broker. In the 1980s he became one of the most influential brokers in the Bombay Stock Exchange, BSE. He was known for his flamboyant lifestyle and his ability to manipulate the stock market. Mehta's scam involved taking advantage of the banking system's lax regulations. He used a technique called sourcing funds, in which he borrowed money from banks against government securities. He then used this money to buy shares in the stock market, driving up their prices. He then sold the shares at a profit and used the proceeds to repay the banks. Mehta's scam was initially successful, and he became known as the Big Bull for his ability to drive up the stock market. However, his luck ran out in April 1992, when a journalist named Sucheta Dalal wrote an article exposing his fraudulent practices. The Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, launched an investigation into Mehta's activities and discovered that he had manipulated the stock market to the tune of over 4,000 crore rupees, approximately $500 million at the time. Mehta was arrested in November 1992 and spent several years in jail. He died in 2001 before his trial could be completed. The scam had far-reaching consequences, with several banks and financial institutions suffering huge losses. The government had to intervene to stabilize the stock market, and new regulations were put in place to prevent similar scams from happening in the future. In conclusion, the 1992 Indian stock market scam was a major financial fraud perpetrated by Harshad Mehta, which exposed the loopholes in the banking system and led to significant losses for banks and financial institutions. While Mehta's scam was eventually uncovered and he was punished, it served as a wake-up call for regulators and led to reforms in the Indian financial system. The immediate impact was a drastic fall in share prices and market index, causing a breakdown of the securities control system operation with the commercial banks and the RBI. Around 35 billion rupees from the 2,500 billion rupee market was withdrawn, causing the share market collapse. The Bombay stock shares resorted to records tampering in the trading system. It caused panic with the public and banks were severely impacted. Banks like Standard Chartered and ANZ Grindlays were implicated in the scam for bank receipt forgery and transfer of money into Mehta's personal account. The government realized that the fundamental problem with the financial structure of the stock markets was the lack of computerized systems, which impacted the whole stock market. Various bank officers were investigated and implicated in fraudulent charges. The 5 main accused officials were related to the Financial Fair Growth Services Limited, FFSL, and Andhra Bank Financial Services Ltd, AFSL. The chairman of Vijaya Bank committed suicide following the news about the bank receipt scam. The scam led to the resignation of P. Chidambaram, who was accused of owning shell companies connected to Mehta. Mehta was convicted by the Bombay High Court and the Supreme Court of India for his part in the financial scandal valued at 49.99 billion rupees, $740 million. Various bank officials were arrested, leading to a complete breakdown of banking systems. The scam had far-reaching impacts on the Indian economy and financial sector. The collapse of the stock market led to a loss of investor confidence, and it took several years for the market to recover. Many banks were affected, with some even facing bankruptcy due to their exposure to Mehta's fraudulent activities. The scandal also exposed weaknesses in the regulatory and supervisory systems, prompting reforms in the financial sector. The government took several measures to restore investor confidence, including setting up a committee to investigate the scam and implementing stricter regulations for the securities market. The Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, was also established to regulate the securities market and protect investors. The scam highlighted the need for greater transparency, accountability, and regulatory oversight in the financial sector. It also underscored the importance of having robust internal controls and risk management systems in place to prevent fraudulent activities. The lessons learned from the scam have since informed the development of new policies and regulations to strengthen the Indian financial system. Subsequent reforms. The first reform was the formation of the National Stock Exchange of India, NSE. It was followed by the development of the CIA Code for Desirable Corporate Governance by Rahul Bajaj. The CIA Code commanded the formation of two major committees headed by Kumar Mangalam Birla and N.R. Narayana Murthy, and overseen by the Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI. The objective was to monitor corporate governance and prevent future scams. The SEBI were to monitor the NSE and the National Securities Depository. For the equity market, the government introduced 10 Acts of Parliament and one constitutional amendment based upon the principles of economic reform and legislative changes. The introduction of online trading by NSE changed the dynamics of stock buying and selling. The financial market opened up nationally rather than being confined to Bombay, now Mumbai. The reforms also included setting up a centralized depository system to eliminate paper-based share certificates, and the introduction of Know Your Customer (KYC) norms to prevent the creation of fake identities for trading. The SEBI was given more regulatory powers, and the Reserve Bank of India (RBI) introduced new prudential norms to improve banking supervision. In addition, the government established the Financial Intelligence Unit (FIU) to curb money laundering and terrorist financing activities. These reforms aim to bring transparency and accountability in the financial markets and to prevent similar scams from happening in the future. They help to improve investor confidence and attract more foreign investments to the country. The Indian financial system has since undergone significant changes, including the introduction of derivative trading, the establishment of commodity exchanges, and the liberalization of foreign investment policies. Changes in the financial structure of India. The 1992 scam collapsed the Indian stock market. Around 40% of the market value, or 1,000 billion rupees, was wiped out. It led the authorities to reconsider existing financial systems and restructure it. The first structural change was to record payments made for purchasing investments in reconciled bank receipts and subsidiary general ledgers to prevent fraudulent transactions. On the advice of the Jankiman Committee, a committee was